Hello everyone, Barb here from barbaderholt.closetomyheart.com. In honor of my being able to get a hold of the Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink, one of my favorites, I want to do a card featuring this. Before I get going on that though, I wanted to show you how I am dealing with all of these little foam pads. These handles, these we sell. These are a Tim Holtz item. You can get them through us, or if you can find them in a Hobby Lobby or something like that, of course you can do that. So there's Velcro on the end, and then these little pads affix to the Velcro, and then you use this for ink blending. So you don't have to have a handle for each color. You can swap them out. But for me, I needed a system to swap them out with to keep track of what color was what. I don't like to use my Distress Oxide foam pads on my dye ink pads. I don't like contaminating my pads between those two different mediums. So that's why I came up with this. I got these little bags. They're a little Ziploc bag. And I think I got them at a Hobby Lobby. They're for putting jewelry in. I think people who sell jewelry will put them in these little bags. And then I took my label maker and just put the name of the ink, Abandoned Coral, and I have one here for Peacock Feathers. And then I have this little container. I don't remember where I got it, but any little container will do. And it has little sections in it, and I just have them in here, and this works really well for helping me to keep track of what little foam pads I have going on. I have some labeled that are for my dye inks, and then I have them for my Distress Oxides. So I thought you might like to see how I'm handling keeping those sort of organized so that I have an easier time getting at them and using them. For today's card, I thought it would be fun to use the May 2021 stamp of the month. I have a piece of distress paper here. This is called Distress Watercolor Cardstock. Again, this is a Tim Holtz item we sell. This is really nice. It can handle a lot of water if you're into doing a watercolor. It's really, really nice paper. And I've just cut it down to the size of a card front. And I'm going to use this big image here. This is this bottom image right here that's on the bottom of this, the Flowers for You stamp of the month for May 2021. A lot of nice images on here. This round circle here, if you happen to have the thin cut set for the circle shaker card that Close to My Heart sells, that round solid shape is perfect to stamp that round image on. Super cool. To do some ink blending on here, I thought it would be nice to do a little bit of some Distress Oxides, but I wanted to stamp the image, and in order to have that show up, I'm going to heat emboss. So I'm taking my powder bag, woofty woofty, and I have my Oh So Sad Versamark, and I'm going to put some Versamark ink onto this big image here, and I have this mounted on the largest block that we sell, and I've got it's the gold, it's the embossing Princess Gold, and then I have a piece of paper folded up, so I'm going to place this here. I do have the foam out of the stamp set. I find that I get a better image if I use that little foam piece. I'm just going to give it a nice press, pull it up, and the paper will come with, so you just peel that off of there, just like that. And now I'm going to take my piece of folded paper, and I'm going to sprinkle my gold embossing powder over the top of the paper and the embossing Versamark ink, and I'm going to, well, I got a little smudgy there, and I know I did. I kind of rubbed my rubbed my pad on there. And I've got that there. You can see, then you take your heat gun and you heat it up, and I'll set that to the side. I'm going to funnel my gold embossing powder back into the little pot and set that all off to the side. And to save time, I've already got one ready to go. I have it cut down to 3 3/4 by 5. I had to think about that for a minute. I was having a little bit of a brain freeze. So 3 3/4 by 5, and then this is 4 by 5 1/4, and then one of our card bases, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Yes, so every one is just a 1/4 inch smaller. I'm going to take my bone folder and give that a little encouragement there. And I'm going to, oh, yeah, I guess I can put this on. So we'll put this black layer, and you'll see when I get this panel inked up how that black sets that off beautifully. The other thing I have here is a butterfly, and this is from our thin cut set that is these butterflies. So the small one is a 2-part set, and the large one is a 3-part set, and that butterfly thin cut set is in this new May to June catalog, and it is toward the back here in the You Are Enough set of goodies. There's a whole big bundle you can buy, but if you don't want the whole bundle, you can just buy the butterflies separately, and that's what I did, and they're gorgeous. Oh, I'm going to do another card that features the big butterfly. I can't wait to show you that. But for now, I am just going to put a little glue on the body of the butterfly. I used our gold sparkly paper because I thought that would be really pretty. Everybody likes sparkle. So I'm going to let that dry while I work at my ink blending. Get that closed up. So I've got a couple of pieces of scratch paper that I'm going to use to do some ink blending with. And I'm going to put, ooh, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to put the Abandoned Coral Distress ink, well, Distress Oxide. I'm going to put that on the top. And what I'm doing is I'm just starting and working my way down, concentrating the darkest color up at the top. And as I get toward the middle, I'm lightening it up a little bit. So I'm trying to get real good solid coverage up at the top. And these Distress Oxides just go on like butter. Oh, it's so beautiful. Now I've got it about halfway done with a little bit in the middle here. And I'm going to open up peacock feathers. And I'll rotate this around, take my other spongy, and I have a piece of spare paper here. I'm going to put this so I don't end up with fingerprints in my in my ink. It happens. And again, I'm keeping the darkest of the color toward the edge, and then as I work toward the middle, I will lighten up my pressure because I want a really pretty cross blending. I've also done this using a more yellow ink instead of the Abandoned Coral, and you get more of a green in the middle. With the Abandoned Coral, I feel like you get almost a little bit of a lavender color, like sunset color. It's so pretty. And you just keep working back and forth. I work with the Abandoned Coral for a little while, and then I come in again with the peacock feathers, and I'm being fairly light. And I'll do a little more of the abandoned coral on the top. Super pretty. I think that's it for today with the blending. So that was peacock feathers and abandoned coral. And I do really like these little blending handles. They work beautifully for me. So we've got that going. And I'm going to grab an old yucky rag and I'm going to do a little buffing to get the ink off of the top of my heat embossing so that it's shiny again. And then I'll hold it up so you can see, and you can see that kind of, it looks like a sunset, that little bit of lavender in there. And I am going to, I think I'm going to use, I'm going back and forth here, my gold shimmer brush. And I am going to do a little bit of shimmer brush in each flower bud. You don't have to do this. And it will lighten the ink and it will move it around because the Distress Oxides react with water. And of course, this is wet, so it can affect it. I think it gives it a neat look. And I'm just hitting the highlights here. And I'll go through and do these leaves because there's a little bit of openness there. And you could do this with the clear shimmer brush. That works well. And I'm using the gold. I think the gold works just fine. And then I do want to do a little spattering. So what I do is I've got this here. I'm going to take the barrel and I'm going to wrap it against the lid. And you get little speckles of the shimmer brush onto the panel. And I think that looks really pretty. Let's see if I can get it into the light so that you can see the sparkles. There they are. So pretty, so pretty. And then the next thing we're going to do is pull in our card base. And here is where you will see the magic of that black layer. It just sets it off. I think it looks so pretty. So here we go. Try not to get my head in the way. There you go. Isn't that beautiful? Love, 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 love. But then I've got my little butterfly. And I only put glue in the middle so that I can lift up the wings to give a little dimension. So the wings are loose on the outside and it's glued down on the body. And I'm going to flip it over and add my glue. And put it on here. Just like that. I'm not going to stamp anything on it. I'm just going to leave it simple like that. I think it's so pretty. You could stamp any kind of sentiment on the inside. Happy birthday, thinking of you, thank you, anything like that. Isn't that just lovely? I think it's so pretty. I hope that you will look into those Distress Oxide inks if you haven't already and give them a try. They are beautiful to work with. And that's it. That's the card for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a blessed, crafty day, and I'll see you next time.